after advising and mandating everybody to turn their bodies into a Pfizer dartboard.
Because I represent science.
Dr. Fauci, the Lord of Science, the Psi tyrant, the dictator of the Petri dish, got COVID. I guarantee Fauci's on the phone right now trying to get a hold of Joe Rogan. He needs some advice on his ivermectin treatment. I think Fauci should quarantine immediately. Give it a solid year of locking down, and then we'll see where we're at. You can never be too careful here.
But now is the time to do what you're told.
Do what you're told. The CDC recently made a recommendation about monkeypox. We know it's sexually transmitted, but the CDC made a recommendation to wear masks to prevent getting it. And when that caused a backlash, they rescinded it. Not exactly how it's supposed to work now, is it? The CDC should just take the D part out and call themselves the Centers of Control. Disease just seems to be an excuse. We see the wisdom of the CDC only occasionally questioned. It just happened the other day in a Senate hearing when Rand Paul was questioning Fauci as to whether there were any studies that back up the idea that giving boosters to children would prevent hospitalization and death. Fauci said there weren't, and it was based on assumptions.
That was made was based on the assumption that if you look at the morbidity and mortality of children within each of the age groups, 0 to 5, 5 to 11.
Right. So there are no studies, and Americans should all know this. There are no studies on children showing a reduction in hospitalization or death with taking a booster.
Given what we said about monkeypox and a host of other rather important things, should children be injected with anything based on the assumptions of the CDC? I would say not. And when the virus panic finally runs out of steam, the left finds new and exciting ways to lock you down. Yes, I'm talking about expensive energy prices, which the left telegraphed that they wanted all along.
By not closing pipelines, by not talking pre-election about how much they don't like fossil fuel, maybe things would have turned out a bit different.
Now you just can't leave.
Speaking of impaired driving, it was rumored that Paul Pelosi had his DUI charges dropped. Fact checkers pounced. Not true, they said. It just hasn't been decided yet whether to charge Pelosi on suspicion of DWI. They suspect he was drunk, but they're just not sure. When they first reported this, Pelosi supposedly didn't hit anyone. They just said he hit a fence and a sign.
Paul Pelosi involved in a car crash before being arrested on a DUI charge in Napa County over the weekend. A fence and street signs were hit. The cause of the crash is still under investigation.
But he did. He drove his Porsche into an SUV. If they do file charges, I won't be surprised if it's against the guy in the SUV for the crime of impeding the progress of a drunken elitist while sober. What can I tell you? It's an Alec Baldwin justice system. Quick word, people. I need your help. I need you to subscribe right now. Help! I am a small channel, and I really need some positive momentum. Help me out. Thank you. There's a lot of shortages going on, but not when it comes to leftist tyrants. Case in point, Justin Trudeau.
But you can't use a gun for self-protection in Canada. That's not a right that you have in the Constitution or anywhere else. If you try and buy a gun and say it's for self-protection, no, you don't get that. You get it for hunting. You can get it for sport shooting. You can take it to the range.
Do you have any idea how crazy you are?
Now you understand your rights in Canada. A criminal can hunt you down and shoot you for sport, but you better not use that gun for self-defense. But you do have a right to beg. You do have a right to scream. And you can use some weapons, like a slingshot or throw something. You can punch or kick or scratch. Trudeau's okay with that. But it's not all bad. If you and your family are attacked, you have every right to shoot yourself, as long as you do it with a sportsman hunting-like outdoorsiness. So New York City just keeps on going down the toilet. New Yorkers are feeling less and less safe as the horrific episodes keep rolling in, and policemen are leaving in droves. But there's good news. Mayor Eric Adams says he's not worried. Yeah, but isn't that the problem? He's got police officers guarding him 24/7. I guess he means he's not worried about it because no matter how horrific it gets in New York City, he knows he'll be reelected anyway because he's a Democrat.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
So we started the week with Black Monday as people watched the stock market crater, losing their savings. So of course we all thought, let's get back to the important stuff, which would be the second annual January 6th committee hearing. Not to be confused with the gratuitous impeachment. No, this was like super duper impeachment. We're all excited to see Adam Kinzinger weep in super slow-mo with the new crying cam technology.
You guys won.
You guys won.
Maybe for next year's January 6th committee, because you know there will be one, maybe they can combine with some other award show I don't care about, or make it more fun by getting Ricky Gervais to host it. That should at least boost the ratings a little bit, right? Is it treasonous to say I'd like to see the January 6th gas prices again? Or maybe the January 6th 401k statements? Oh wait, that's an insurrection. An insurrection of savings. AOC is still suffering from her PTSD from her January 6th experience. Or is it PTBS? You know, since she was really nowhere close to being harmed. She hasn't been this fake traumatized since she went to the parking lot and fake seeing illegals being mistreated. And of course those lies don't compare to when she was traumatized and scared to death because Lord Vader was coming. Remember that? So she sent an SOS and the Death Star plans in an R2 unit and sent it off to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, she certainly remembers that. And more importantly, we should remember that. Speaking of remembering, does she remember the border anymore? She hasn't talked about it so much. There's just no way to take the January 6th committee seriously unless they take all the inconsistencies into account, and I mean everything. Why was the idea that Capitol policemen were beaten to death a consistent lie that was pushed? Why was security so light? Why were cops opening doors? Why no public investigation into Ashley Babbitt? And of course, you have to openly talk about the question of Ray Epps.
I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested. Well, let's not say it. We need to go. I'll say it. All right. We need to go in. I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail for it, okay? Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. We are going to the Capitol.
No?
When we go in,
Are we going to get arrested if we
leave
go
this
out there?
here. You don't need to get shot.
Ray Epps specifically was recorded committing textbook incitement.
Probably going to go to jail.
I'm probably going to jail? No, it's almost like he knows he probably won't go to jail. Like he's got a Paul Pelosi VIP card on him. Remember, Kinzinger went out of his way on Twitter to exonerate Epps, saying people who thought Epps to be guilty were, quote, crazies. Well, Epps was put on the FBI most wanted list. So whoever did that must have thought that Epps did something pretty serious. But then, oops, I guess that was a mistake. The FBI must have had an intern working the most wanted list or something that day. Outside of no arrest, outside of being publicly thanked for his cooperation, if Epps isn't an agent or an asset of some kind, why wouldn't the committee use Epps as Exhibit A of what they're desperately trying to prove? Video proof of a pre-planned insurrection. Just think of the opportunity. You could publicly have Epps testifying that it was a coup, and that he was led astray by the evil orange man. The fact that this has all been buried means that Occam's razor can be applied. It looks fishy because it is fishy. Forget Occam's razor, you have Occam's whole shaving kit. If you want to see what genuine attacks on our democracy looks like, and I mean who doesn't, look no further than the assassination attempt on a Supreme Court judge. You know that story, right? New York Times, WAPO, the Sunday shows.
Bueller.
Kavanaugh. Forget assassination. If anyone even sneezed on Ruth Bader Ginsburg's grave, Kinzinger would be crying for weeks. So much is being done to distract you from this guy's performance.
You sit on a throne of lies.
True, our economy's crashing needlessly. But at least we can take solace now that we have a truly compassionate and decent man in the White House.
And by the way, my sympathies to the family of your CFO, who dropped dead very unexpectedly.
He dropped dead unexpectedly. Hey, sorry about your CFO, taking a dirt nap and all. Kicked off unexpectedly, bit the dust, cashed it in, numbers up. Yeah, Joe feels your pain. Get your commemorative Biden condolence cards while supplies last. Thanks for watching. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Be sure to pass around to anybody who might like my content. And I'll see you the next time.